And today for chapter 10.1, we are going to be talking about customary length. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that means, but you should have written this down in your notebook already. And your learning goal for today is to be able to compare, contrast, and convert customary units of length. Let's talk about what these verbs mean. What does it mean to compare something? Adam?
To compare means to see the difference between
Not quite. When I'm comparing two things, I am Rashika.
Finding differences?
Nope, I'm not finding differences. Neha, I am.
You're finding the similarities.
Yeah, I'm looking for what's similar between two different things. When I contrast, what am I doing, Rashika?
Finding differences.
Then I'm finding differences. So compare and contrast means finding what's similar and then what's different. And what does it mean to convert? We have 3 different C verbs today. Our third C verb is convert. What does convert mean, Sarah?
Transform kind of thing?
Yeah, to transform or to change from one thing to something else. Kind of like how Rad Chad converts when he gets up to 10, right? And he changes into something else. Okay, so today we're going to be comparing, looking for what's similar, contrasting, looking for what's different, and converting, changing units of length, customary units of length. Okay? We're actually going to save our problem of the day, and we'll talk about it in just a moment. But let's first talk about measurement. Okay? If you're taking good notes, I want you to please make sure that you are writing this down. There are 2 systems of measurements, one that's called customary units of measurement, and one that's called metric units of measurement. Okay? And they both do the same thing. They measure things. Customary and metric both measure things, but they're just different types of units, okay? And now what I actually want you to do is, do you guys see this chart right here? I want you to find your next blank page, okay? So thank you to those of you who already drew it really small, but I want you to find your next blank page and draw a 3-column chart that takes up the whole entire page. So if you drew it really small, just do it again on the next page. Okay, in your first column on the left, I want you to write, what does it measure? At the top, that's the label. And then the second one you're going to write, you're going to call it customary units. And then the last column you're going to call it metric units. Okay, and the reason why we're doing this on a whole separate sheet of paper is because we are going to be adding to this chart throughout the entire unit. Okay, so this is going to be kind of your reference point that you're going to come back to. So set yourself up for success by writing this chart down. As we said, today's learning goal is to be able to compare, contrast, and convert customary units of length. So remember back on this slide when we said there's customary units and metric units? Are we talking about metric units today? No, we're only talking about the kind of units that's called customary. So let's first talk about this. What is length? When I say we're measuring units of length, what is length? Siddharth?
It's like how long something is.
Okay, how long something is. Matthew, can you add to that?
So length is this might be maybe 2 feet or .
So he's pointing to he's showing the edge of his desk and he's saying this might be 2 feet. What's another way you can describe what length is? Liam? Yeah, Siddharth also said how long something is. Length is the distance between 2 points. If I have a point here and a point here, the distance between those 2 points is the length. If I have a point here and I have a point here, the distance between those 2 points is length. Okay? And there are a couple different customary units that we use to measure length. So this is when we can start adding to our chart. We can write that these units all measure length. And they're all under the customary label. Inch, foot, yard, and mile. Those are the different customary units of length that we use. Go ahead and write that into your chart. So remembering that our learning goal is to be able to compare, contrast, and convert customary units of length, let's start by comparing. How are these customary units of length the same? How are inches, feet, yards, and miles, how are they similar? Stuart? They're similar because they're all measuring length, or the distance between 2 points. Adriana?
Well, they're all part of the customary unit.
They're all part of the customary system. Very good. Now let's contrast them. How are they different? How are they different? Harshita?
Each one is a bit bigger than the other, so an inch is smaller than a foot.
So they're all different sizes. An inch is smaller than a foot, which is smaller than a yard, which is smaller than a mile. Yeah. And now, in order to convert them, this is what we need to know. We need to know, and you want to write this down in your notebook, that 1 foot equals how many inches? 12 inches. 1 yard equals how many feet? How many feet? 3 feet. Okay, and a lot of us have memorized these already, but go ahead and write them down because writing them down helps us remember them. 1 mile equals how many feet? 5,280. Okay, write that one down. And 1 mile is 1,760 yards. And trust me when I say you'll want to write these down because we need to use these conversions to help us convert these different units of measurement. How can I use that conversion chart to help me figure out how I can convert 62 inches into feet and inches? Tanvi?
So since we knew that 1 foot is 12 inches, then you can just do 62 inches divided by 12 inches to get 5 feet. Remainder, and then there's a remainder of 2 inches, so we know that it's equal to 5 feet and 2 inches.
Awesome. Okay, so what conversion did Tanvi use to help her figure out that 62 inches is 5 feet and 2 inches, which actually happens to be my exact height? What conversion from the chart did Tanvi use? Soham?
1 foot equals 12 inches.
Yeah, she used the fact that 1 foot equals 12 inches to help her convert 62 inches into feet and inches. Okay, let's take a look at this one. The distance between the new high school and the football field is 2 miles. Okay, so there's a new, maybe like Levi Stadium, and then there's a new high school that's 2 miles away from Levi Stadium. How does this distance compare to 10,000 feet? What two distances am I comparing? Jason? How many miles? 2 miles, and then how many feet? 10,000 feet. Can I compare things that have different units? Can I do that? Am I ready to put a greater than, less than, or equal than? No. When things have different units, I cannot compare them. Can I say that cats are more expensive than dogs? No, I have to convert both of them into dollars, or the same unit, okay? So how can I combine these to be the same units? Should I change them both to miles or both to feet? Both to feet. Okay. So 10,000 feet is already in feet, so that's good to go. How can I convert 2 miles to feet? Shreya?
So I know that 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. But that's 1 mile. So if I do 5,280 feet times 2, that would give me the distance in feet for 2 miles.
Good. So what is 5,280 times 2?
I got 10,500.
10,560 feet. Okay, now do I have the same measurements to compare? They're both in feet. Which one's greater, 10,560 feet or 10,000 feet? Adriana?
10,500.
So let's go back and answer the question. How does this distance compare to 10,000 feet? How would you answer that question? Rashika?
2 miles is greater than 10,000 feet.
Yeah, 2 miles is greater than 10,000 feet. Now, how does that translate when I'm asking you which one is farther? What could you say? Is the new football field farther or is 10,000 feet farther? Liam?
The distance between the high school and the football field is further.
Greater than 10,000 feet. Exactly. It's farther. Okay? Javon is helping his dad build a treehouse. He has a piece of trim that is 13 feet long. How many pieces can Javon cut that are 1 yard long? And then how much of a yard will Javon have after he is done? How much will he have left over? Okay, so step 1 was to write down what the question is asking. Matthew, what was the question asking?
So how much yards will be left over and how many yards can we cut?
How many pieces can he cut? Okay, so how many different things is this question asking? 2. So you have to answer 2 questions in order to completely answer it. Good. What important information is there that we need in order to solve this problem? Thomas? Okay, he has a piece that is 13 feet long. Yeah, he wants each piece to be 1 yard long. Okay. Now that we know the important information and the questions, what can we do to solve the problem? Adam?
So what I did is it also goes back to what we're learning.
Oh,
That
imagine that.
the 1 yard equals 3 feet.
Okay.
So it says 1 yard. I can just think of it as 3 feet, and then I know that 3 feet goes into 13 feet 4 times with a remainder of 1 foot. And
Can I ask you a question really quickly? We're doing division, right? When you said that you know that 3 feet goes into 13
Yeah.
feet 4 times, is that a grouping or a sharing division problem?
I think it's sharing.
Sarah, what do you think?
It's grouping because we're seeing how many groups of 3 or 1 yard.
Yeah, so this is a good example of a grouping problem because we're finding out how many groups of 3 feet there are in 13. Okay, so continue on. So you said there's 4 groups of 3, 4 groups of yards,
So
the remainder of 1.
So that would be so there'd be 4. So that would answer the first part, which is how many pieces can you cut that are 1 yard long. But then there is 1 foot left. But they ask us that it's 1 yard.
How
not
much
1
of a
foot.
yard? Yeah.
So it would be 1/3 of a yard left over.
Awesome. Rashika.
So when he said 4 pieces, is that 4 pieces or 4 yards?
Well, what's the question asking?
How many pieces can Jabin cut that are 1 yard?
So is it how many pieces or how many yards? They mean the same thing, but the question is asking how many pieces. So the way Adam did it is just perfect. Okay, and I love, Adam, how you were very precise, and you knew that there was 1 foot left over, but you knew that the question was asking how much of a yard. So we had to put it into a fraction of a yard. Okay, and 1 foot is 1/3 of a yard left over. Excellent.